difficult for those not attached to preferences. When neither love nor hate arises, all is clear and undisguised, separate by the smallest amount, however, and you are as far from it as heaven is from earth. If you wish to know the truth, then hold to no opinions for or against anything. To set up what you like against what you dislike is the disease of the mind. When the fundamental nature of things is not recognized, the mind's essential peace is disturbed to no avail. The way is perfect, as vast space is perfect, where nothing is lacking and nothing is in excess. Indeed, it is due to our grasping and rejecting that we do not know the true nature of things. Live neither in the entanglements of outer things, nor in ideas or feelings of emptiness. Be serene and at one with things, and erroneous views will disappear by themselves. When you try to stop activity to achieve quietude, your very effort fills you with activity. So as long as you remain attached to one extreme or another, you will never know oneness. Those who do not live in the single way cannot be free in either activity or quietude, in assertion or denial. Deny the reality of things and you miss their reality. Assert the emptiness of things and you miss their reality. The more you talk and think about it, the further you wander from the truth. So cease attachment to talking and thinking, and there is nothing you will not be able to know. To return to the root is to find the essence, but to pursue appearances or enlightenment is to miss the source. To awake even for a moment is to go beyond appearance and emptiness. Changes that seem to occur in the empty world we make real only because of our ignorance. Do not seek for the truth, only cease to cherish opinions. Do not remain in a dualistic state. Avoid such easy habits carefully. If you attach even to a trace of this or that, right and wrong, the mind essence will be lost in confusion. Although all dualities arise from the one, do not be attached even to ideas of this one. When the mind exists undisturbed in the way, there is no objection to anything in the world. When there is no objection to anything, things cease to be in the old way. When no discriminating attachment arises, the old mind ceases to exist. Let go of things as separate existence, and mind too vanishes. Likewise, when the thinking subject vanishes, so too do the objects created by mind. The arising of others gives rise to self. Giving rise to self generates others. Know these two see as facets of the one fundamental reality. In this emptiness, there are two really one, and each contains all phenomena. If not comparing nor attaching to refined and vulgar, you will not fall into judgment and opinion. The great way is embracing and spacious. To live in it is neither easy nor difficult. Those who rely on limited views are fearful and irresolute. The faster they hurry, the slower they go. To have a narrow mind and to be attached to getting enlightenment is to lose one's center and go astray. When one is free from attachment, all things are as they are, and there is neither coming nor going. When in harmony with the nature of things, your own fundamental nature, you will walk freely and undisturbed. However, when mind is in bondage, the truth is hidden, and everything is murky and unclear, and the burdensome practice of judging brings annoyance and weariness. What benefit can be derived from attachment to distinctions and separations? If you wish to move in the one way, do not dislike the worlds of senses and ideas. Indeed, to embrace them fully is identical with true enlightenment. The wise person attaches to no goals, but the foolish person fetters himself or herself. There is one Dharma without differentiation. Distinctions arise from the clinging needs of the ignorant. To seek mind with the discriminating mind is the greatest of mistakes. Rest and unrest derive from illusion. With enlightenment, attachment to liking and disliking ceases. All dualities come from ignorant inference. They are like dreams, phantoms, hallucinations. It is foolish to try and grasp them. Gain and loss, right and wrong. Finally, abandon all such thoughts at once. If the eye never sleeps, all dreams will naturally cease. If the mind makes no distinct discriminations, then the 10,000 things as they are of single essence. To realize the mystery of this one essence is to be realized from all entanglements. When all things are seen without differentiation, the one self-essence is everywhere revealed. No comparisons or analogies are possible in this causeless, relationless state of just the one. When movement stops, there is no movement, and when no movement, there is no stopping. When such dualities cease to exist, oneness itself cannot exist. To this ultimate state, no law or description applies. For the realized mind, at one with the way, all self-centered striving ceases, doubts and irresolutions vanish, and the truth is confirmed in you. With a single stroke, you are freed from bondage. Nothing clings to you, and you hold to nothing. All is empty, clear, and self-illuminating, with no need to exert the mind. Here, thinking, feeling, understanding, and imagination are of no value. In this world, as it really is, there is neither self nor other than self. To know this reality directly is possible only through practicing non-duality. When you live in this non-separation, all things manifest the one, and nothing is excluded. Whoever comes to enlightenment, no matter when or where, realizes personally this fundamental source. This Dharma truth has nothing to do with big or small, with time and space. Here, a single thought is as 10,000 years, not here, not there, but everywhere, always right before your eyes, infinitely large and infinitely small, no difference, for definitions are irrelevant, and no boundaries can be discerned. So likewise with existence and non-existence. Don't waste your time in arguments and discussion attempting to grasp the ungraspable. Each thing reveals the one manifests as all things. To live in this realization is not to worry about perfection or non-perfection. To put your trust in the heart-mind is to live without separation. And in this non-duality, you are one with your life source. Words, words. The way is beyond language, for in it there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, and no today. We will return to noble silence until service begins. At this time, I would like to invite up our incense lighting volunteers. I know we might need an additional. You got it? Perfect. So on page 2 of your booklet, we will chant the incense lighting gatha together. And together we say, in gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding, slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all. Few courtesy announcements. First, is this anybody's first time at Temple today? Welcome. Glad to have you here. So I will do the courtesy announcements. I don't see any small children, but if you ever bring any small children, we have a space downstairs that is suitable for play, distraction, staying busy, whatever you need. So there's also a water fountain down there and an area with cups. So please feel free to use it. There are 2 restrooms just on the other side of this curtain. Please feel free to use them at any time. The only request that we have is that you don't walk in front of the dais, but walk behind it, just so that way for our online viewers, they're able to see service well. When we are chanting, please inject some life into it and don't just make it the same old, repeating the same things just because you're at Temple and someone told you to. Okay? Do it because you're actually like understanding why we're chanting it. And yeah, maybe you don't fully understand it, but like the parts that speak to you, like embody that, carry that in your heart, right? It's not just about saying the same things over and over and hoping that something will change, right? Because as we know, that's not the way things work. So we're going to go ahead and stand up and silently bow to one another as our way of greeting each other. So on page 3 of your chant books, we're going to recite the 3 refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, a living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Sangha, a loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And on the next page, we will chant the Heart Sutra. Paramita Hridaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion from the deep practice of prajna, Paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form, form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para gate, para samgate, bodhisvaha. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
For those of you who have a prostration practice, you're welcome to join in with this. Prostrations, for those who aren't aware, it's a bowing practice that, for me, I engage before I teach or every day in front of my altar. It's a way of engaging in humility, of knowing that I don't know it all and I'm still learning. And so may I use this opportunity of body, speech, and mind to walk into a more carefully curated future Okay? And when I say carefully curated, it means that I'm trying to change my behavior for good. And so the prostration is a way of reminding myself of that. Again, in the Tibetan tradition, it's body, speech, and mind. Before you go down to all fours and push up against the five skandhas before rising back up. And we'll do that 3 times. You're welcome to try it. I've never done a prostration before. Otherwise, just wait until we're done and we'll all take a seat.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. My name is Z. My Dharma name is Igye Su. You can call me either. You may notice that I don't quite look like some of the other Dharma teachers. Got my sweater on today that was made for me by a little old Scottish lady I used to dance with. She was like my second grandmother. She passed away a few years ago, and today I'm going to be talking about the 4 sights, one of which death is included. So in her memory, Miss Jean Hand from Glasgow, Scotland. So early on in the Buddha's life, there's this story, and the initial telling of it was told by Ashvaghosha in this Sanskrit poem called the Buddhacharita. And it's where he talks about the Buddha's life. And there was one point when Buddha was fairly young where he asked his charioteer, Chandaka, to take him out into the city to see things, right? It was kind of like his first step into the world, so to speak, because his father had kind of tried to hide all of life's suffering from him, so that way he'd become the next great chief of the Shakya clan. And so the first sight, he sees old age. And this translation was taken from the Johnson translation of the Buddhacharita. He saw a man weakened by age, his body bent, his gait faltering, his white hair, his teeth broken, his skin wrinkled, leaning on a staff, trembling as he walked. And Siddhartha asked, "Who is this man, O charioteer, with his strength gone and his body bent low? Is this a transformation of his original nature or a condition that has befallen him?" And Chandaka replies, "He is one who, having passed through infancy, youth, and manhood, has reached old age. That is the end of vigor, the arrival of decrepitude. This fate will befall him, you, me, and all creatures." The second sight is disease or sickness. On another day, they go back out and they see a sick man. And Siddhartha says, hang on. Another outing, Siddhartha sees a sick man. Then he beheld a man attacked by disease, his body filthy and pale, uttering inarticulate cries, being supported by others and unable to move alone. And Siddhartha asks, "What is this man, O charioteer, who is oppressed by pain, with his frame wasted and his breath rattling? Is this state peculiar to him, or is it common? Is it the common lot of all creatures?" And Chandaka replies, "This is called sickness, that state by which the balance of the elements is destroyed. This condition happens to all creatures." On the third sight, he sees death. Then he saw a man being carried out who was lifeless, his body stiff, abandoned, being mourned by his kinsfolk. And Siddhartha asks, What is this being carried out, decked with garments and ornaments, but lifted up by others without consciousness and set aside like a thing? And Chandaka replies, that is what is called death, the complete cutting off of the life breath. This is inevitable for all beings after birth. This is their final end. And the final sight, he sees a monk or a renunciant. Then he saw a man wearing the garments of a mendicant, calm with restrained senses, and delighting in solitude, seeking salvation. And he asked, who is this man, O charioteer, distinguished alike by his dress and conduct? And Chandaka replies, this is called a recluse, one who, terrified by birth and death, has gone forth from his home to lead a religious life. So recently, I traveled back home for me, which is Northern California. And I wasn't there for just leisure. It was an unexpected visit. A friend of mine from high school had passed away. And so I went to celebrate her memorial. She's the same age as me. And as I was on the plane, it hit me that she was really gone. And I knew that this trip had a secret hidden message for me. And what was she trying to show me? It had been about 7 years since I'd been back in Northern California, and 12 years since I moved to West Michigan. And to be honest, not much had changed. The first thing I did after I got off the plane and acquired my rental vehicle, I drove to Gyoto Monastery in the Richmond Hills. And it was actually established the year that I left. So it was really cool to be able to see what they had done in 12 years with this beautiful space. And I walked the property and I spun all of the prayer wheels and chanted mantras for Jackie. And as I came to the beautiful statue of Guanyin, or a version of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, a Nepalese man approached me and asked me if I wanted to sit down and join them for a cup of butter tea, which I did so gladly. And as we're sitting there and talking about our time in California, there were these two young children running around, a boy and a girl. They looked about the age of 4, maybe 5, about the same age as my own eldest daughter. You're 5? Yeah, so the same age as you. And the little boy runs up to me and he throws this, like those Madeleine cakes that you get at Starbucks. He throws one in my lap and giggles and then runs away. And it was this incredible experience of these offerings by people I've never met before, so welcoming and loving. And the gentleman who is he was Tibetan, but grew up in Dharamsala, he says, you need to go in and see the Gampa. And for those of you who don't know what Gampa is, it's the place where you meditate. It's like here, this would be our Gampa. And I went inside and I prostrated and I dedicated all my merits to Jackie. And I picked up a commentary on Jet Tsongkhapa's Harmony of Emptiness and Dependent Arising on my way out. Now, later that night, I went to see another good friend of mine at this house that they used to play music at. And it was pretty much the same that I had seen it the last time I was there, except all the studio equipment that they play music on, instead of it being in the basement, it was upstairs. But apart from that, it was pretty much same old, same old. It was like walking back in time. And my good friend, Jordan, sat next to me after they had a break in their practicing their set as they were preparing for a show the next night. He said, "You've changed a lot, but here I am doing the exact same thing." And he was referencing my move across country, starting my dance school, getting married, having kids. And he's grown in many ways too. But the one thing that has been consistent has been playing the most incredible music in the hills of El Cerrito. So the next morning was Wednesday morning. I got up and got ready to go to Jackie's memorial service. As I was driving there, it felt really surreal. I hadn't really processed her death much. It still didn't feel like she was gone, even though I knew she was. And I was still kind of battling this disbelief. As I entered the Queen of Heaven Cemetery and Funeral Center, I immediately noticed the open casket. And it felt like time had stopped. Now, for me, even though I was raised Catholic, I'm still jarred every time I see an open casket. And so I clutched onto my mala beads, thinking that somehow they might wake me up from this strange dream I'd found myself in. And I noticed as a few familiar faces from high school entered the chapel. It was like this time warp of high school and aging bodies. Our hair and faces had changed slightly, but the walk we walked and the talk matured. Each of us walked into Jackie's experience with broken hearts, wishing that our reunion was under different circumstances. It's nothing like a funeral to have your first high school reunion at. I learned that she had been hospital for the last 3 months. She had battled addiction for most of her adult life, and it ultimately ended up under 24/7 care. There was hope that she would pull through. And knowing Jackie, I think she was exhausted. Exhausted of trying to please the people that she loved deeply. But she was incredibly intelligent. She graduated high school a year early, and after some time at community college, got accepted on a full ride scholarship to UCLA, where she got a major in mathematics. She was really talented. She was an artist, and she had this deep love for animals. Of all my friends in high school, she was one of the kindest. And even when others were jealous of her, she was still incredibly kind. I remember this one time we were at a friend's house party doing all the things that 16-year-olds shouldn't be doing. And she had been dating this guy that another one of my friends had also been dating. And that night at the party, my other friend had shown up under the influence. And Jackie and I were in the bathroom talking, and this person burst in with a knife in their hand and threatened to stab her. And I stood between the two, managing to talk my friend off the ledge and taking this weapon from her hand, keeping Jackie behind me. And see, there are these things that we can directly do to save other people's lives. But unfortunately, addiction is one thing that we can only save ourselves from, especially with the help of our loved ones. So after her service, I packed up my things and I drove out to Carson City, Nevada, where my dad and my Uncle Jim still live. My uncle recently turned 95 years old in April, and he's still living on his own. He's an incredible person. He was born in Plymouth, England, and played in the British Army marching band. He worked most of his life as a tool and die maker, and built his own house in Carson from scratch, built and designed it himself. He has lived this incredibly full life, and he's still going along. I really wouldn't be surprised if he outlives me. And we laughed and we shared memories, especially ones of going up to Carson or going up to Tahoe and having picnics on the beach. And before I left, he said, "You know, Elizabeth, if you can help it, don't get old." And we both laughed. I told him I'd try my best. So why were the 4 sights important? The first of the 5 paths is called the path to accumulation. The path of accumulation, excuse me. This is when your renunciation and bodhicitta deepen, and you begin to actively accumulate positive karma and wisdom as a conscious choice. You commit to investigating the nature of reality and dedicate your mind to finding a way out of the suffering of this cyclic life. Essentially, you get to this deeper level of seeing the truth of what the Buddha did when he woke up. And you have this overwhelming sense of understanding that things don't work the way you mistakenly thought they did. And so you make this commitment to investigate the nature of reality and dedicate your mind to finding a way out of this suffering. When Buddha saw the ascetic, he had hope that it was possible. For me, the question becomes, do you trust the potential that is within ultimate reality? Do you really think that it's possible to wake up? And during my time in California, I observed and wrestled with this. Can you really get past those subtle urges to be convinced that the way you see the world is the correct way, when ultimately there is so much more than that? Over those 3 days, I noticed thoughts and habits that dictated how I behaved, especially when I was on the road in California traffic. But I also noticed a shift in some of my past projections and my past behaviors. Less judgment, more love, less anger, more compassion. I even had my car broken into while I was there and got the full Bay Area experience. And even though I walked out, and I remember having had this happen before when I lived in California multiple times, I remembered that initial feeling, but it was very subtle. And I thought to myself, rather than, thinking of, oh man, I've got to take the rental car back and I have to file a police report and all the long list of things that you have to do when something happens like that, all I could think of is, wow, I got the full California experience. This is awesome. I spent a lot of time with my best friend, Natasha, somebody I've known since I was 8 years old. And we know each other just as well as most siblings do, if not better. And we laughed so hard that we cried. And as the Irish would say, the conversation was 90. Her presence helped me stay anchored and gave me that hope that there really is a way out. I still have a piece of Jackie that was with me after all these years. We used to make each other these handmade Valentines in high school, and we'd write each other these little love notes. And the very last line was, "I'm always here if you need me." And she is, not in the physical sense, but in every kindness that she showed me. When we talk about developing the 6 paramitas, we do it because we know that it will show us how to live a better life. We do it in tandem with the laws of karma, which means karma, the definition is the movement of the mind and what motivates it. So rather than continuing to respond in anger or irritation, you understand why anger and irritation are not the right response. Really not the correct response, or the one that will bring a future without suffering. And I was able to receive her kindness because I'd given kindness to others in the past. But if I want to keep seeing that kind of selfless love, especially in the future, I must continue to give that selfless love away. Buddha taught that things function because they are empty of an inherent nature. All things are changing phenomena that depend on the perceptions to execute their function. All things arise dependently on each other. And because they are empty of existing from their own side, they can function as a web of interdependence. A seed can only grow into a tree because it depends on soil, water, sun, etc. It doesn't exude treeness from its own side. To a tree to an ant might be like a skyscraper is to a person. We do not see the same tree with the same perceptions, let alone we probably call it something completely different. The identity and function arise in dependence on the parts and conditions and our mind and its labeling process. So why does that matter? It helps us to dissolve the illusion of a solid, separate reality and shows us that we live in a world of fluid appearances, not fixed. These teachings beg us to question where our misunderstanding of reality really comes from. That neighbor with the MAGA sign? The friend you judged for not supporting pride in the way that you want them to? Our tendency to juggle judgment and acceptance. These are all results from mistakenly thinking that our world has an inherent existence. And this is what the Buddha spent his entire life teaching us to investigate. Why? You'll notice that I keep asking why. It's because that once we let that illusion drop, that's when we can see that love and compassion are the only answer. It's not the fake kind that you engage in just because you think it's the right thing to do. Or somebody said that just love everybody. But why? And that's what the Buddha was teaching us. You don't engage in that kind of forced love because you think it's the right thing to do. You want to work on engaging in that real kind of love. The kind that says when you see a loved one acting stupid, you don't just let them because you're thinking, oh, well, they just don't know any better. It's the kind where you act compassionately and sometimes wrathfully. It's the one that says, I love you, and I want you to wake up too. Because letting other people create more pain for themselves is also part of what we're working on overcoming. The most compassionate thing we can do as bodhisattvas is to stop others from creating pain in their own existence. But this doesn't mean just go and start a fight with your politically different nature or neighbor. It really means reach your hand across the aisle and give them a chance to tell their side. It means being the bigger person no matter what, even when you are tired of being the bigger person. When the illusion is gone, we can do just like the Buddha did. Tsongkhapa said in his Lamrim Chenmo, when you realize that things do not exist inherently, you will see that they are like illusions. At that time, grasping and afflictions will not arise. If I want to experience a world free from suffering, there is no other choice. I must find renunciation from my mistaken way of viewing the world, and I must start to travel to the other shore. I think of it like Frodo standing in front of that impossible army of orcs holding his little sword. Determined, not for his own glory, but to protect the world. I will do this for the sake of all. And lastly, it's really easy to get caught up in the crap of the world. Please remember to tell people that you love them. We will all get old, we will all get sick, and we will all transcend this meat suit. And the only thing that will remain are the results of our actions in body, speech, and mind. So fill them with every kind of goodness possible. And any goodness that you receive, reinvest it, give it away. I will close my talk by reading The Source of All My Good, written by Tsongkhapa at the foot of a statue of Lord Atisha at Radrang Monastery in 1402, before we go into our meditation. The source of all my good is my kind Lama, my Lord. Bless me first to see that taking myself to him in the proper way is the very root of the path, and grant me then to serve and follow him with all my strength and reverence. Bless me first to realize that the excellent life of leisure I've found just this once is ever so hard to find and ever so valuable. Grant me then to wish and never stop to wish, that I could take its essence day and night. My body and the life in it are fleeting as the bubbles in the sea froth of a wave. Bless me first thus to recall the death that will destroy me soon, and help me find sure knowledge that after I have died, the things I've done, white or black, and what these deeds will bring to me, follow always close behind, as certain as my shadow. Grant me then ever to be careful to stop the slightest wrongs of many wrongs we do, and try to carry out instead each and every good of the many that we may. Bless me to perceive all that's wrong with the seemingly good things of this life. I can never get enough of them. They cannot be trusted. They are the door to every pain that I have. Grant me then to strive instead for the happiness of freedom. Grant that these pure thoughts may lead me to be watchful and to recall what I should be doing. Grant me to give the greatest care to make the vows of morality the essence of my practice. They are the root of the Buddhist teaching. I have slipped and fallen into the sea of this suffering life. Bless me to see that every living being, every one, my own mother, has fallen into. Grant me then to practice this highest wish for enlightenment, to take on myself the task of freeing them all. Bless me to see clearly that the wish itself is not enough, for if I'm not well trained in the three moralities, I cannot become a Buddha. Grant me then a fierce resolve to master the vows for the children of the victors. Grant that I may quickly gain the path where quietude and insight join together, one which quiets my mind from being distracted to wrong objects, the other which analyzes the perfect meaning in the correct way. Grant that once I've practiced well the paths shared and become a vessel that is worthy, I enter with perfect ease the way of the diamond, highest of all ways, holiest door to come inside for the fortunate and the good. Bless me to know with genuine certainty that when I've entered thus, the cause that gives me both the attainment is keeping my pledges and vows most pure. Grant me then to always keep them even if it costs me my life. Bless me next to realize precisely the crucial points of both the stages, the essence of secret ways. Grant me then to practice as the Holy One has spoken, putting all my effort in and never leaving off, the practice of the 4 times, highest that there is. Bless me, grant me, that the spiritual guide who shows me this good road and all my true companions in this quest live long and fruitful lives. Bless and grant me that the rain of obstacles, things within me or outside me that could stop me now, stop and end forever. In all my lives, may I never live apart from my perfect lamas. May I bask in the glory of the Dharma. May I fulfill perfectly every good quality of every level and path, and reach then the place where I become myself, the keeper of the diamond. Prepare yourself for meditation. And that does mean like stretch if you need to clear your throat. So, the last thing I'd like to invite you to do today before we close service is bring to mind somebody that you've lost, somebody that you've deeply loved, respected, and think of all of their good qualities. Think of the best qualities, the ones you really, really admired. And then see if you can take some of those out into the world today. Show them to somebody else. Allow that person to live through you. Bring them back to life. And show the world that kindness is possible. Because dang it, we need it. We're experiencing a lot of hard times right now. And it feels like we always will. It hasn't changed since the time of the Buddha. So let's see what we can do to transform it a little bit. So we are going to move into our joys and concerns. For those who are new, this is an opportunity for you to share the good things that are happening in your life, as well as maybe the challenging things that we can hold space for. So please feel free to raise your hand and we'll come around. Introduce yourself, say your name, just so we can get to know each other a little better. Well, there's got to be one good thing out there. Come on now.
Is that better? Oh, thank you. My name is Barb. I would like us to hold space for the people in Iran and keep them in our hearts. And then to counteract that, my joy comes from my garden, the fact that my flowers are blooming, they're feeding the insects in our world, and that the world will go on despite whatever happens with humans. Thank you.
When you mentioned garden, it reminded me of something I did this week. My name is Eric. I'm a beekeeper, and I also do like swarm removals. So something I got a call for this week was to remove some bumblebees, and I'd never removed bumblebees, but they didn't want to kill them. So I removed the deck and dug a big hole and found a little bumblebee nest and gathered them up and put them in a box, and I brought them out to my family orchard and gathered all the rest of the bumblebees and got to relocate those. And that was a first time doing bumblebees, but it was awesome. They were bringing in pollen already. It was beautiful. So that was my joy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nilsson. I just want to quickly point out I am scared of bees, but bumblebees are the cutest bees. So whenever I see one, I do smile. I don't know how they fly, but I just want to very quickly say I've been attending this temple for about maybe 7 months, maybe 8 months at this point. It's been a pretty important resource for me. Not only their wonderful library, I encourage you to check it out, but just anytime they have any excuse to come together and do anything together is pretty wonderful. And we did just start about a month ago, we started a mutual aid group as well. And even though this summer people are very busy, there's not a lot of events going on. I do encourage everyone to just, participate, volunteer, get involved as much as possible. I live very far away, but I try to come as much as I can. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right. We will hold space for those joys and concerns. We've got a couple of announcements. We have our online meditation group on Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45. That's on Zoom. You can see the newsletter for more information. Dharma Dharma discussion group is on Thursdays from 9:30 to 11 a.m. at the temple. Wait, no, it's not. It's on hold for the summer. That's right. So revisit that again in August. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. That's the person you can talk to if you're interested. Buddhist Space recovery meetings on Mondays, 6:30 p.m. There's a meditation at 7 p.m. There's the meeting, and it's here at the temple. Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. at the Alano Club. Fridays, 10:05 a.m. meditation and 10:30 a.m. meeting here at the temple, or you can join via Zoom. We also have other events that come up. So if you're ever curious about what's coming up, please visit the website. That's going to be your best source for information, and sign up for the newsletter. It goes out weekly. Okay, there's more. Oh, Dana announcement. So this temple runs on donations. It's a nonprofit. If you're not a part of our like a monthly pledge kind of thing, you're always welcome to either drop a few bucks in either of the black boxes at either entrance or scan the QR code. We also accept donations, so tissues, paper towels, all the things that you'd normally need to help make sure that an organization's running or its business is running. You can also volunteer your time. There's a group that cleans the temple the first Tuesday of every month. Is that correct? Yeah, first Tuesday every month in the morning. Reach out. We can put you in touch with the folks there. What? Oh, we need board members. It's not as scary as it sounds. It just means you want to help this organization continue to run. So it's just showing up and being a part of the community. And there's actually a board meeting today. Not today. Okay, so the board meeting was canceled today. But if you are interested, please, please, please reach out. We'd love to have your help. We'd love to have your experience, your knowledge, or even just, your ability to come and be a part and share your thoughts. This is Ken.
There's also a post in the newsletter where you can find more information, or I'm happy to talk to anybody who's interested. Thank you.
Okay. We have tea after service downstairs. There is a Dharma Council meeting scheduled, but I think that'll be up here, so I don't think there will be any anything kind of taking up the space downstairs, but just know that there will be a couple meetings going on afterwards. When you do get up to leave your space, if you can fluff up your cushion and kind of return it to how you found it, there will be folks coming around and collecting booklets, or you can take that job on yourself. Apart from that, I think we're ready for our closing gathas. So inside of your book on page 6,
and together we say, for all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And if this happens to the room, if this happens to the room, and we vow. Thanks everyone. Have a great Sunday. Stay cool and hydrated.